We'd like to welcome you guys to our stream. I'm DJ Just Jay with the Soto Podcast. The AFC means we advocate for children first. This story is going to be all too familiar to us because we've seen this type of thing play out a lot of times. Number one, with frustrated parents. Number two, with abusing children. Lastly, treating children bad over something as simple as sustenance, food. How do we get here? That's what I keep trying to figure out, okay? But a Kansas woman, a Kansas mother, who beat her 2-year-old son, as y'all can see him on my screen, beat him to death after he refused to eat a hot dog. So you guys did not misread my title. A mother and a boyfriend beat up a 2-year-old over what? He did not want to eat a hot dog. I know that sounds stupid, guys. I know it sounds stupid. But the behavior and actions of these caretakers of this boy are absolutely reprehensible. And yes, people do this type of shit every single day, and I want to see it stop. I'm going to get into some of the more ridiculous points in this story, but let me go ahead and tell you more about this so you guys can kind of understand where we are and how we got to this point, okay? First and foremost, the woman on the left-hand side, her name is Elizabeth Woolheater. Woolheater. What a wonderful, awesome, stupid name. Elizabeth Woolheater is 24 years old, of Wichita, Kansas, and was sentenced this past Friday for killing her own 2-year-old son by the name of Anthony Bunn, B-U-N-N. That little boy right there. And I always wonder, what could these kids, look at that little boy's face. He looks like a very sweet, very innocent kid. I cannot imagine what he could have done to deserve what he got from these two assholes. Right? We're going to talk more about this. The little boy, Lil Tony, was found unconscious by police at his Riverside neighborhood home on May the 6th of 2018, and he died 2 days later. She told authorities that she lost it when the boy refused to eat the hot dog that she had given him for breakfast, the news reported. I'm going to read that again. She lost it when he refused to eat a hot dog. The bullshit that we feed our children, first and foremost, this is 2019. Matter of fact, let me thank Mom's Fur Babies for your donation. I did not want to skip that over. She said, good evening, Soto Nation and the AFC. Thank you for your donation by way of Super Chat, Mom's Fur Babies. Thank you so much. I do not want to overlook that. This is 2019. I know that most of everybody has access to smartphones. I know that everybody has access to free internet, some Wi-Fi in some shape, form, or fashion. Why are we still feeding our children bullshit? Can anybody explain that to me? Does anybody have an answer for me? Because me personally, I just believe we're being a little bit too lazy, a bit too lackadaisical, and just living out our everyday lives like it actually does not matter. Let me thank Big Kurt for joining the channel memberships also. So everybody shout out Big Kurt in the chat. Thank you very much, brother, for joining the channel memberships. I appreciate that. Who eats a hot dog for breakfast? Why would you feed a kid that? That stuff, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I want y'all to look up how hot dogs are created. Don't feed that shit to your children. If you're a grown-ass person and you want to eat that, you do it. That stuff is dangerous to the cognitive functions of children. It can harm them. It can cause cancer. It can cause so much crap. Stop feeding your kids hot dogs. Stop it. All right? It's 2019, and I'm sure that you guys can look up some better things to feed your kids, even being on a budget. Am I wrong? Let me know. We got the live chat popping right now. If I'm wrong, let me know. Okay? I'm just saying. They're still giving out food stamps. These motherfuckers are not paying for food. What's up, Lady La? Let me know if I'm wrong. I don't want to be too harsh if you feel like I'm speaking something that you guys do not agree with, but I think I'm right about that. These people that live in these downtrodden communities, especially women that got kids, they are giving them housing and food stamps. Am I lying? All I'm saying is if they're going to give you some shit for free, the least you could do is feed your children properly. Let's move on with this goddamn story, okay? Now, the mother, Woolheater, Elizabeth Woolheater, 24 years old, pled guilty in August to second degree murder, and 2 counts of child abuse. Her sentence, I'm going to pause it right there. Her sentence was 19 years in prison and 5 months. I'm going to say that again. 19 years in prison and 5 months. That's what her sentence was. But peep this, because I'm going to tell you what her boyfriend was charged with. Woolheater says she hit her son while her boyfriend, by the name of Lucas Deal, Lucas Deal, Diel, he's 26 years old, held the food in the boy's mouth. He physically held the food in the boy's mouth. She claimed then she heard Deal hitting him more after she left the room. So what happened was, again, this little boy was 2 years old. The mom beat him. After she beat him, he came in and beat this boy as well. But he denied hitting the boy and claimed he fell out of bed. Oh, no, yeah. I'm glad they didn't fall for that bullshit, right? Now, he was sentenced to 49 years in prison for second-degree murder. So the mom who allowed all of this to happen, the mom who put this boyfriend in this child's life, the mom who avoided the biological father that she created this kid with, went through all of that to bring Lucas Deal into the picture, but she got a lighter sentence than the boyfriend. And she initiated the beating this time. But this story gets a lot deeper. Again, when you guys come in, click that thumbs up. Shout out to Kydra. Kydra has always been a supporter, and she just joined channel membership. So Kydra, prayer hands up. Thank you so much for joining the channel memberships. I'm glad you guys believe in what I do here. I really do. So thank you guys so much for that. Now, the mother, Woolheater, told the court, I know that I'll never be able to make up or undo the mistakes that I made. I know that I failed my son when he needed me. I do not want it to be known. I do want it to be known that I did love Tony, and I still do with all of my heart, she added, according to the news. Now, at the boyfriend sentencing, Deal sentencing, Anthony's grandfather, Zach Woolheater, described the man as a monster and recalled the horror of sitting next to the dying toddler's hospital bed. That little boy right there. We couldn't believe it was real life. Our lives have been very hard since that day, the grandfather said. And records show that in October of 2017, the State Department of Children and Family Welfare Services, or DCF, was contacted after the toddler's 2 grandmothers took Anthony to a Wichita emergency room with unexplained bruises on his head and back. Okay? Now, if I need to go back and play those videos for you guys, if y'all have never seen the videos that I've showed y'all, how you can actually tell whether a young child has been abused, then let me know. I can actually go back and pull that video up and play it for you guys so you will understand what the signs are of that type of thing happening. Okay? Again, for the people that are watching, if y'all would, please click that thumbs up. If y'all would. If y'all can hear the sound of my voice, please click that thumbs up. It'll share our stream and let other people know that we're live. So if y'all would, do that for me. Let's at least try to get over 100 thumbs up. It's not even a hard thing to do. Just look down and just stick your finger on the screen and just kiss that thumbs up button. Let's move on. The agency said previously that a medical exam didn't reveal internal injuries or result in finding of abuse. Police detectives also investigated But District Attorney Mark Bennett has said there wasn't enough evidence at the time to file criminal charges. In the aftermath of his death, the head Kansas Department of Children and Family Services acknowledged that the agency was not fulfilling its mission and announced a number of personnel changes. They didn't say anybody was fired. Personnel changes. Let's move on. 7 months before 2-year-old Tony Bunn, that little boy right there, was beaten to death, reportedly for not eating a hot dog, the state was alerted to possible child abuse before this. Okay? So they had prior notice before this started. And I want y'all to notice, whenever y'all click that thumbs up, more people come in. For some reason, our notifications are not going out. So that's why it's so important. That's why I stress it all the time. So whenever y'all click that thumbs up, more people end up coming in. I see the number jump up. So thank you guys for doing that. Just whenever y'all come in, keep clicking that thumbs up. Okay? Records show that the state's Child Protective Services Agency failed to follow through on at least one key part of the case, possibly missing a chance to save that little boy's life. In October, Tony's 2 grandparents took him to a Wichita emergency room with unexplained bruises on his head and back. As required by law, at 2:09 p.m. on October the 18th, the state's Department for Children and Family Services was contacted. Social workers found a child who met what they call classic signs of being at risk. He was younger than 4 years old. He lived with his mom and her boyfriend, who had a history of violence. A history of violence. And he was isolated. He was too young to go to school. He was not in daycare. And after the emergency room visit, the maternal grandparents were no longer allowed to see him. Now tell me all of those things are not red flags. Now DCF did respond. The social worker assigned to Tony's case was the same one assigned to investigate the child abuse allegations concerning Evan Brewer. A three-year-old Evan's body was found encased in concrete in a South Wichita rental home in September. Jesus Christ. The next month, the social worker was assigned to Tony's case. In a statement Saturday, DCF said that Secretary Gina Meyer Hummel visited the Wichita office after Tony's death to determine whether all appropriate action was taken to ensure his safety. Upon her review, Secretary Meyer Hummel took immediate and necessary action, including initiating personnel changes and prompting other case reviews, the statement said. Specifically, the staff member and the supervisor on Anthony Bunn's case are no longer with the agency. Did you guys catch that? The staff member and the supervisor on that little boy's case, his name is Anthony Bunn, they are no longer with the agency. And it sounds like they got fired. DCF is committed to ensuring the well-being and safety of children, and we will continue to strengthen our services to serve Kansans. I don't understand, and I keep saying this, it's the parents' responsibility to take care of these kids, but for the life of me, when they have a program like Child Protective Services in place, they won't even investigate properly. That's what they get paid to do. These people are literally paid to investigate if a child is being abused. So what does that tell you? These people are just taking paychecks and not doing their fucking jobs. I don't know how they continue to keep getting away with that. Or why would you apply for a job that you refuse to do? It's the same thing like if you work in a food, like in fast food or some shit. Why do you have an attitude working in fast food? Go work somewhere else. Don't work in CPS. You don't like babies? You don't like babies crying? Don't be a daycare worker. Are you scared of criminals? Don't be a police officer. Just saying. They had missed opportunities to save this little boy's life. The DCF records show multiple problems with the investigation and follow up with Tony, including the mother and her boyfriend, and I want to repeat that, mother and boyfriend, agreed to family preservation services, which can include anger management, parenting classes, and let me back that photo up, because that's by far one of the saddest photos that I have seen. And I'm going to tell you guys, when I looked at this photo, that picture broke my heart. That made it so real for me to see how small that baby's body is, and they're carrying out that small casket. The Sierra Day case with Anaya Day. That is absolutely right. Mom's fur babies, you got a great memory. Absolutely right. Yep, that's absolutely right. They can't just be there for a paycheck. They can't do this because people's lives depended on it. It's just like when people want these 911 operators to take their job seriously. Well, whenever they're having a bad day and they're just like, yeah, whatever. You know, like when they talk to the people crazy on the phone, then everybody wants to be in an uproar over this. And I get it. And they should be in an uproar. But I think they should also be just as much appalled as CPS workers not investigating the cases that they are asked to come out and do welfare checks on. Now, that includes anger management, parenting classes, counseling, and other help. But the DCF never requested services for them, according to the summary of the case provided by the agency. Had services been assigned, someone would have continued to check on Tony and his family, increasing the chance that a caseworker would have detected a situation that was escalating out of control. Had the family later refused help, that too would have raised a red flag on Tony's behalf. If DCF had just followed through and would have assigned a caseworker and a supervisor to work with the family, said Shayla Johnston, an attorney working with maternal grandparents. Let me scroll this a little bit. They would have been checking on Tony, she said, and they would have fast-tracked the ability to use the legal process to remove Tony from the home. The grandparents showed the DCF photos with Tony of Tony with bruises. Photos the grandparents said were taken July 23rd, September the 7th, and September the 8th. The social worker didn't have the mom sign a release granting the DCF access to medical records until December, 2 months after the investigation was over. Even then, nothing in the logs indicate the past medical records were requested. The baby Tony's autopsy noted a healing fracture in his forearm. A healing fracture in his forearm. Possibly, or a possible sign of past abuse. The records lack documentation, and there is no indication whether tasks were followed up on. Dates are missing on the handwritten logs, which are difficult to read. While the allegations of abuse were being investigated, Tony stayed with his maternal grandparents. The social worker met with the maternal grandmother by the name of Nancy Woolheater in her home and attempted to talk with Tony to find out whether anyone had tried to hurt him. The social worker's log says that Tony was unresponsive. I don't even know what that means, but anyway. He was just being his Tony self and playing around, Nancy Woolheater recalled Saturday. Basically, he just wanted to play. She told me, okay, this is not going to work. Let's bring him to the office to try to interview him there. She said she would call me to set up something, but she never did. Nancy Woolheater said she tried to call the DCF several times to set up the interview, and the interview never happened according to the logs. The social worker returned her calls. Nancy Woolheater said only after law enforcement had returned Tony to his mother and her live-in boyfriend. The grandparents were never allowed by their daughter to see Tony again until after he was rushed to the hospital on May the 4th with his fatal injuries. The records don't indicate whether the social worker had knew the full history of Deal. Let me see, what is his full name again? Lucas Deal, if I'm not mistaken. Let me go back up. Lucas Deal. Okay. Records never indicated whether the social workers knew the full history of Lucas Deal, the boyfriend's violent past. The case files notes that Deal served time in prison, so he was a jailbird. That fool on the right-hand side was a jailbird. He served time in prison after being convicted of a felony criminal threat in 2016. That year, a little over 2 years before Tony died, Deal's mother filed a petition for protection from abuse against him. His own mom filed a protective order against Lucas Deal. The document, which is not part of DCF records, includes a handwritten statement from Deal's mother saying that he pulled me down to the floor, he had a chokehold on my neck, and had broken glass in his right hand. The social worker and detective interviewed Deal this past October. According to the case logs, he said he would never hit Tony. The man who ended up being charged with Tony's murder told them back then, "I love Tony to death." Man, it's bullcrap. Let's go ahead and get this fair use going. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. All right, there were a couple of news videos, but I'm going to show those to y'all real quick.
Wichita police are investigating after a toddler was found not breathing. Officers were called around 7:30 this morning to a home near Murdoch in Amidon. They found the child's grandmother performing CPR. Police say the boy had injuries that didn't add up. His family was taken to the police station for questioning. He remains in critical condition.
Thanks for staying with us. A mother and her boyfriend are behind bars after a 2-year-old boy was rushed to the hospital. Police say they found the boy not breathing at a home in College Hill yesterday morning. KAKE's Portia Riley is live in front of that home on North Woodrow with the latest on the arrest. Portia.
Yes, Krista, the home behind me, as you can see, is where 2-year-old Tony was found unresponsive with severe head and face injuries. Officials say they got to the home around 7:30 a.m. and the toddler was unresponsive till around 10:30. I spoke to several neighbors and people who knew the couple, and some were very surprised, but others weren't.
I did bring one of my friend's sons around him, and he was not a fan of kids.
Sarah Eli.
Now, this woman is the ex-girlfriend of Lucas Deal, the boyfriend who killed him. So let's listen to her.
But others weren't.
I did bring one of my friend's sons around him, and he was not a fan of kids.
Sarah Eli dated Lucas Deal for a year in 2015, but says she broke it off due to Deal's frequent drug use and controlling behavior. When she heard that he and his current girlfriend Elizabeth Woolheater were booked into the Sedgwick County Jail for the attempted murder of Elizabeth's 2-year-old son Tony, she was initially shocked, but says after recalling the time she brought her friend's son around, that feeling changed.
Then whenever he was playing, he played with him like he was an adult.
Neighbor Nicholas Yoakum went to high school with both Elizabeth and Lucas and can't believe this happened.
Well, I was real shocked when I first got home. So when I pulled up, all the vehicles were here already, and then I saw nobody was outside at this point, and then I saw a bunch of people come out and grab the stretcher and pull it inside and everything. And saw them put Lucas in the cop car, and she was sitting in the driveway. She came out and sat in the driveway and was crying.
Yoakum says Elizabeth seemed like a good mom and doesn't believe she'd hurt her son.
Maybe she knows something that happened and she's just not cooperating because she likes Lucas too much.
Bruce Hartner lives across the...
I always hate when people give excuses. Let's listen to his excuse again.
Got home, so when I pulled up, all the vehicles were here already, and then I saw nobody was outside at this point, and then I saw a bunch of people come out and grab the stretcher and pull it inside and everything, and I saw them put Lucas in the cop car, and she was sitting in the driveway. She came out and sat in the driveway and was crying.
Yoakum says Elizabeth seemed like a good mom and doesn't believe she'd hurt her son.
Maybe she knows something that happened and she's just not cooperating because she likes Lucas too much.
Bruce Hartner lives across the street. His daughter and Lucas used to be friends. He says he hasn't seen much of the couple lately.
They've kept to themselves to the point where I didn't even know they had a child. Yeah, it shocks me that it's in Riverside. I don't want child abuse to happen anywhere.
We'll continue to keep you updated as more details develop. Live in College Hill, Portia Riley, Cake News.
All right, we got a couple more videos here real quick. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Real quick.
The Riverside neighborhood is devastated after a child who lived with his mother and her boyfriend dies in what police believe was a case of child abuse.
When I realized it was Elizabeth, it was pretty shocking.
Elizabeth is Elizabeth Woolheater, the child's mother. She and her boyfriend Lucas Steele were arrested and charged in 2-year-old Anthony Bunn's death. After a couple of days in the hospital, the child died from his injuries Sunday morning. According to police, doctors told them the child had severe trauma to his head and face.
It's extremely hard on the investigators, the medical staff that work on the children. It's tough on everybody all around.
Police believe the child's injuries were caused by Woolheater and Dill. The couple was booked into the Sedgwick County Jail for attempted murder. Those charges were elevated to felony murder and child abuse after Anthony died. Deal has prior arrests for violating his probation and criminal threat.
He has priors on his record. Keep in mind, the mother either knew this beforehand or she should have done her due diligence and found out. Let me see. Different Sage. Got you. Let me go ahead and mod you up. Thank you very much. The mother should have did her due diligence to find out who she was dealing with before she put her child in this man's presence. That's why I think their sentences should have been reversed. He should have got the 19 years and 5 months, and the mother should have got the 49 years. How many of you guys agree with that? I think the mother should have got the harsher sentence.
After Anthony died. Deal has prior arrests for violating his probation and criminal threat.
Hearing more and more, I'm like, that's pretty crazy.
And this isn't the first time the couple's been investigated for child abuse.
There was one investigation in October of 2017 of child abuse. That case was investigated. That case was presented to the district attorney's office, and there was not enough evidence at that time to pursue the charges.
Some neighbors wonder if the state had done a more thorough job, that the child could have been taken from the home.
When Child Protective Services is called in, they need to do their job.
I agree. He said when they're called in, they need to do their job.
Had done a more thorough job, that the child could have been taken from the home.
When Child Protective Services is called in, they need to do their job.
That's a fact.
Lieutenant Jeff Gilmore says the case will be presented in front of the district attorney later this week. Live in Riverside, Portia Riley, Cake News.
Now this audio is going to be a little bit weird, but I'm going to let you guys look at them while they're in jail and hearing their bond and their next court date.
Hello, ma'am. Are you Elizabeth Woolheater? Ma'am, I show you're currently charged with murder in the first degree. Your next court date is May 23rd at 9 a.m. Your bond has been set in the amount of $250,000 with pretrial services. Also, you're to have no contact with co-defendants or anyone under the age of 18. If a sentencing judge becomes necessary in your case, Judge Sirius will act as your sentencing judge. I also have your request for a court-appointed attorney, and based on your information, I'm appointed the conflicts office to represent you.
Sorry, that's hurting my ears every time they bang that table. Sorry. But the kid was rescued by the grandparents, and child services gave the kid back to the mom and the boyfriend. That's exactly right. Now, Why isn't somebody in Child Protective Services? Not only did they get fired, why are they not being charged criminally? If you cause a child to get killed, shouldn't you do jail time for that? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reaching. If DCF has a failure like this and a child ends up dying because of their negligence, shouldn't they also have to do jail time also? Not just lose their job or move to another district, go get a job somewhere else and go fail another child. That's a broken system when certain people are held accountable and other people aren't. That's crazy. They should absolutely be prosecuted.
So someone from their office should be over there to see you before your next court date. Do you have any questions, ma'am? I'm sorry? Yes, ma'am. Pretrial is part of your bond. Once you make your $250,000 bond, then you can get set up with pretrial. And part of your bond also is that you have no contact with codependent or anyone under the age of 18. Alrighty, do you have any other questions? Alright, thank you.
I don't know if y'all noticed that from her mannerisms, but not only does she look slow, like slower than a tortoise crawling through mud, slower than frozen molasses, slower than hell freezing over. She looks like she didn't give a damn. If you look at her face, I'm going to play this one more. Thank you. Somebody did catch that in the chat. Somebody caught that. She looked like she didn't have any kind of remorse. She wasn't sad and was even scared. Yeah, $250,000 bond. She should have no bond. I agree. But I'm going to play this again, and then I'm going to show y'all the boyfriend's Lucas deal. I'm going to show y'all his. Let's watch it again.
Hello, ma'am. Are you Elizabeth Wolf here? Ma'am, I show you're currently charged with murder in the first degree. Your next court date is May 23rd at 9 a.m. Your bond has been set in the amount of $250,000 with pretrial services. Also, you're to have no contact with co-defendants or anyone under the age of 18. If a sentencing judge becomes necessary in your case, Judge Sirius will act as your sentencing judge. I also have your request for a court-appointed attorney, and based on your information, I've appointed the conflicts office to represent you, so someone from their office should be over there to see you before your next court date. Do you have any questions, ma'am? I'm sorry? Yes, ma'am. Pretrial is part of your bond. Once you make your $250,000 bond, then you can get set up with pretrial. And part of your bond also is that you have no contact with codependent or anyone under the age of 18. Alrighty, do you have any other questions? Alright, thank you.
These are two people that just did not care. Now let me show you the boyfriends. Here's his. Same place, same thing. Watch his and tell me, is his mannerisms any different?
Hello, sir. Are you Lucas Dial?
Yes.
I show you're currently charged with murder in the first degree. Your next court date is May 23rd at 9 a.m. Your bond is set in the amount of $250,000, along with pretrial services and no contact with anyone under the age of 18. If a sentencing judge becomes necessary in your case, Judge Sirius will act as your sentencing judge. I also have your request for a court-appointed attorney, and based on the information, I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you in this case, so someone from their office should be over there to see you before your next court date. You're also considered part of your bond is no contact with co-defendant as well. Do you have any questions?
I'm allowed to talk to my mother, though, right?
If she is not an endorsed witness.
On the second page here?
On the complaints, on the second and third page of the complaint are all of the endorsed witnesses. So if she is listed as an endorsed witness, you cannot have contact.
Alright, thank you.
Again, when you guys come in, I did open up the chat, so there was not a mistake. I wanted to make sure that you guys were aware that I'm asking you guys to join the channel memberships. It's not going to be a permanent thing because that's going to be a privilege for the people that are actually a part of my channel memberships, okay? Now, if you guys did not catch that, no, this is not their son. He was the boyfriend. The mother put her child, her 2-year-old child, around this dude who was already a convicted felon. She already knew he was a convicted felon. And if she didn't know, she should have known. But let me tell y'all something else. I'm going to read this part again because some people did not catch what he did to his own mother. Records did not indicate whether social workers knew the full history of Lucas Deal's violent past. The case files notes that Lucas Deal served time in prison after being convicted of a felony criminal threat in 2016 against his own mother. Y'all catch that? Against his own mother. Natoya, I'm a paying member. Well, we'll talk about it, Natoya. I'll moderate you for now, so that way you can be in the chat because I know you have donated before. So I'll go ahead and moderate you, so that way if we decide to go forward with this thing, then you'll still be able to hop back in there. So don't worry about that part, Natoya. We'll talk about that later. Now, that year, a little over 2 years before baby Tony died, Deal's mother, Lucas Deal, that dude right there, his mother filed a petition for protection from abuse against him. The document, which is not a part of DCF records, includes a handwritten statement from his own mother saying that he pulled her down to the floor, put her in a chokehold around her neck, and he had broken glass in his hand, probably threatening to cut her. I'm assuming that's why you'd have broken glass in your hand and be on top of your mother and be holding her in a chokehold. And I want y'all to listen. He said, "Can I contact my mom?" The same mother that you abused back in 2016? Let's listen at that again. Interesting. Very interesting.
Hello, sir. Are you Lucas Dial?
Yes.
I show you're currently charged with murder in the first degree. Your next court date is May 23rd at 9 a.m. Your bond is set in the amount of $250,000, along with pretrial services and no contact with anyone under the age of 18. If the sentencing judge becomes necessary in your case, Judge Sirios will act as your sentencing judge. I also have your request for a court-appointed attorney, and based on the information, I will appoint the public defender's office to represent you in this case, so someone from their office should be over there to see you before your next court date. You're also, sir, part of your bond is no contact with co-defendant as well. Do you have any questions?
I'm allowed to talk to my mother though, right?
If she is not an endorsed witness.
Listen at that again. He asked to talk to his mom. This dude looks dumb as hell.
Do you have any questions?
I'm allowed to talk to my mother though, right?
If she
I'm allowed to talk to my mother though, right? I'm allowed to talk to my mother though, right? I'm allowed to talk to my mother though, right?
Why would he want to talk to his mom? That it sounds like he threatened to kill her. And why would he want to talk to his mom when he served prison time for what he did to his mom? Pulled her down to the floor, had his mother in a chokehold around her neck, and had broken glass in his hand. And now he's been found guilty of murdering a 2-year-old boy, and he wants to talk to his mommy. Ain't that a bitch?
I'm allowed to talk to my mother though, right?
if she is not an endorsed witness.
On the second page here?
On the complaints, on the second and third page of the complaint are all of the endorsed witnesses. So if she is listed as an endorsed witness, you cannot have contact.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Y'all did. Somebody caught that. Somebody said he smiled. I noticed that. Look again. I'm a pause it on that moment. Let me see how quickly I can hit this pause button. Son of a bitch. Tell me y'all see him smiling. Y'all see that? Somebody in the chat posted. I don't remember who said it looked like he was smiling. He did. Keep in mind, not only were they not sad over murdering a 2-year-old, the fact that they showed no type of remorse, no type of concern, and then on the flip side, you smile? Come on, man. Seriously? I'm going to play that a couple times so y'all can see just that part without the audio. Let's watch it again. Just that part. Look at that. Man. The type of dudes that these ladies like, I just do not understand why you don't value your kids more. They value these type of men more than they do their own kids. Let me try to get this boy's picture back up on the screen. That's them carrying out his tiny little casket. 2 years old. That little boy right there. And I look at his face and I wonder, what did baby Anthony do that was so bad that his mother did not turn over custody of her son to the grandparents or even the biological father? So what they're saying is that I don't want him around his biological father, and I'm willing to kill him, and I'm willing to go to jail forever and take my boyfriend with me. Rather, like, damn, like, is it that deep? Like, is your hate for the biological father that deep that you can't just hand over custody, let him raise the kid, and y'all can go on with y'all little happy lives since all she really wanted was that man? Or am I wrong? Am I looking at this wrong? Y'all got to talk to me. Y'all got to tell me what's up. Because it seems like that will make everybody happy. You don't have to worry about that kid anymore. Killed him over a freaking hot dog. Come on. You killed him over a goddamn hot dog. All she wanted was the money. Hashtag babies for benefits. Thank you, mom fur babies. All she wanted was the benefits. And it seems like as the United States of America, we have, as parents, have literally sold out our children for shit that doesn't really matter. That's for things that are not going to last and for things that aren't going to get us anywhere. Section 8, food stamps, all of that stuff. If the government wanted to straight up in those programs, a lot of families would be in shambles. A lot of families would not know what to do or where to turn. They could not feed themselves, clothe themselves. They couldn't take care of themselves. And I'm going to tell y'all, to be at the mercy of the government like that is not a good thing. That is a horrible thing for you to not be self-sufficient. That's how far we've come. We used to have a time back in the day when we used to value having gardens. We used to value having communities. We used to value not having to necessarily send your kids to daycare. Grandparents would do it. It takes a community to raise a kid. The family would pitch in. The mother and father's side would pitch in and take care of this kid. But yet, My words are the problem. People don't like what I have to say about these parents, about these mothers and fathers and these boyfriends. They don't like my narrative. They don't like the fact that I say that we should advocate for children first. I'm the problem rather than the people that are actually out there harming these children. These kids can't speak for themselves. They can't defend themselves. What the hell are they supposed to do? They depend on us. And lastly, let me finish out with this, because I said it at the beginning of the show. Some of you people weren't here until just now, but I'll say this again. For the people that are utilizing the SNAP program, Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program, otherwise known as food stamps, for those people, I get it, I understand. All I'm asking is please look at feeding your children healthier and better. Stop feeding your kids motherfucking McDonald's. Stop feeding your kids motherfucking fast food. Stop feeding your kids motherfucking Cheetos and shit. And grape drink. And just stupid stuff. Feed your kids better. Everybody has access to some form of internet and free phones and all of this stuff. I see everybody walking around with smartphones. The least we can do is research a healthy food regimen for our children. If you're already getting the food for free. That's all I'm saying. Buying them all of these snacky cakes and all of this unhealthy shit that is not going to be good for their mental. It is not going to be good for their teeth. It is not good for their health. It is not good for their cognitive development. If we really care about our kids, the very least that we need to do is feed them better or stop making kids. How about that as a noble idea? Stop having random kids by niggas you just met at the club or dudes that just got out of jail. I have never seen a group of men get pussy so easily for these motherfuckers that be coming out of jail. And I'm just speaking real blunt and honest right now. Dudes coming out of jail have no problems, no issues getting sex. Am I wrong? I know a lot of my audience is ladies. Some of y'all like them jailbirds, right? Y'all like that thug dick. Y'all like them hardened criminal type dudes. If that's what you like, stop putting your kids around it though. If you don't have kids, do what you do. If you got kids, you got to start thinking about your kids first. Stop going to the club. Stop going to places where you cannot include your children. Be responsible. Because you know why? That's what responsible parenting means. And if you're not ready to step up to that level of responsibility, to my men and to my ladies, then let's stop recklessly procreating. That's one to grow on. This is your boy DJ Just Jay. I'm signing out. I want to say thank you guys so much for listening to this story. And I want to say RIP to baby Anthony Bunn, who was only 2 years old. Young man, I wish we could have known what you could have grown up to be. You could have been somebody that maybe even made a change. Shout out to the grandparents. It sounds like they tried their best to give them a shot, but it was just too late. Let this not continue on. Let this be a lesson, and let's do our best to try to stop this, okay? If you see something, please say something. Continue to utilize the program that's there. It's called DCF, DCS, Child Protective Services, CPS, whatever you want to call it. Continue to use them until we find something better, okay? But continue to keep utilizing them and make these people do their damn jobs, man, okay? Thank you guys for listening. Y'all have a great night. We'll see you guys on the next stream, all right? That's the end of this one. Peace.